Ladies and gentlemen, 3 minutes 30 to go until we crown a champion. Have we got some support from Mount Roskill? That's all right, that's all right. Have we got some support for Mags? All right, so hey, one more time. I mean, these guys need another chance. Remember, Mount Roskill are the reigning champions. Mount Roskill? And what about our boys back here in the former Mags? All right, well, 3 minutes and we go live. We want to hear you guys. They want the support. Let's do this. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's Play Live presents the League of Legends High School League. Powered by Logitech G, Tech Cafe and Computer Power Plus. In partnership with Xerium, Playtech and the New Zealand Esports Federation.
Hello and welcome to the High School League Premier Division Grand Finals. I'm standing in here in front of an eccentric crowd at Auckland Armageddon. We are at the Logitech G Esports Arena, and this crowd, they're nuts! But we are here. My name is Matt Smite Ross. I've got two wonderful gentlemen on the analyst desk with me. I've got Johnny Cyclone Weatherly, coach of TM Gaming from the OPL, and Jamie Bailey as well. They're going to be going through the games all afternoon with me. It is Mount Albert Grammar School taking on Mount Roskill Grammar School. Gentlemen, what a series we have on our hands.
I'm expecting a bloodbath. You see the crowd, you see these teams, they're going to go at it. I want to see them leave everything on the stage. This is the final. This is the biggest stage they've ever played on. Let's see some really good games today.
Both of these teams have the most incredible KDAs, and I expect one of those to be ruined today.
One of them has to. If there was pick'ems for HSL, someone's is going to be ruined today. But guys, let's bring on the stars of the show. We've got Dwan on the stage to bring on the superstars, the teams playing today.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you for everybody that is here within the arena. It is exceptional to see hundreds of people here in Armageddon. Of course, everybody that is at home across Australasia watching this High School League Grand Final. But it's not about me. Let's meet team number one. This is Mag. Warm round of applause. We'll welcome them out on stage. Yep. Yep. Yeah, well, Mount Albert Grammar, you've got a whole bunch of support here, but firstly, obviously what an occasion. Look at the crowd that you guys are about to play in. Look at the setting. This must be mind-blowing for you guys.
Yeah, it is definitely excited just to play the game.
And what's the strategy going into this? Remember, you're going up against the reigning champions in the form of Mount Roskill. Yes, they're down Keru, but look, they're a formidable team.
Yeah, I think we've beaten them throughout the season, so we're confident we'll take them out.
Hey, well, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mount Albert Grammar. We'll let you guys get back into it, and good luck for the tournament. Well, there you have it, Mount Albert Grammar. They are not going to go out of this one lightly. They know what they're playing for. Look, they seem quietly confident in their ability to get it done, and as they should do, having not lost the game. Huge support here at Armageddon in the form of hundreds all the way back in this whole arena. I'm excited, but you know what? Mount Roskill, reigning champions in this one. Yes, they're without Keru, but who cares? Number one coming into this one. Let's welcome in Mount Roskill! May you hear the crowd, obviously huge here, coming into this one as the reigning champions. How do you guys feel? Hey, I tell you what though, it is busy, it is a big edition. I know that there's the nerves there, you're ready to get it done. Have you got anything to say for you and the boys before you get back into it?
Shout out to everyone from Roskill that came. There's like more than 30 people that came.
Well, good on you. Shout out to Mount Roskill, that's your team number 2. Head back in.
And there we have it, everyone. The two teams that will be playing today, a huge amount of support in the crowd for Mount Albert Grammar School. Mount Roskill, the defending champions. Both teams have a huge amount of pressure on them, whether it's in the crowd or defending their title. But gentlemen, we're going to break down this series. How are we going to see this series play out? I want to talk about star players and who they're going to play, right? First off, Terath from the Mount Albert Grammar squad, an incredible jungler. I know one guy in the crowd has a sign with this guy's name on it. He's got a fan following.
He's a player that's always, putting pressure on the map. And if this morning's games are anything to go by. It's pressure that's going to win these games. Pace on the board, pace on these maps, in front of a huge crowd, they're going to use that energy, right? So Terath, a player who's able to transform so much energy into a gold lead with towers and even a win.
All right, Johnny, I'm going to pose a question to you right now because Tournament Realm, patch 720, Evelyn rework is on the Tournament Realm. Terath, however you want to say it, this guy is definitely prone to playing some of these aggressive junglers. Do you think it's viable to bring out a newly reworked champion so early on?
There's always an element of surprise. You know, if it hasn't been played in competitive before, people don't know how strong it is. If you figured something out that someone else hasn't, then you have a significant advantage. However, if you think you've got something figured out, but actually you just haven't played against people who know how to verse it, then you might be in for a world of hurt and bait yourself into doing something that you're not very good at.
All right,
so it's a big risk for sure.
A big risk for sure. So maybe sticking with something that's quite solid. And now I want to talk about Mount Roskill, right? Their support, Skerez, has a big tendency to play those bodyguard supports, like Braum is a big one. Braum will look after that 80 carry, make sure he stays alive, and in that bot lane it's super important, because Mags, they've got 2001, a terrifying 80 carry.
This guy goes off every game I've seen him. No matter what champion it is, he seems to make it work. In the last playoffs that we saw, he was on Jinx, went to a 50-minute game, still managed to pull it out. Some of the highest damage numbers across the entire high school league. So if anyone's going to win it for their team, I think it could be him.
Some of the highest. 2001 does 32% of his team's damage. That is insane.
For an 80 carry as well, who's most of the time just farming up in that bot lane, trying to get that gold going. And then we've got to remember that a lot of these stats come off the back of the fact that Mount Albert came through a best-of-3 series against Burnside in the semi-finals, and they very almost did not make it here. Burnside were one team fight away from winning the game and making it to the finals instead for about 40 minutes, but Mount Albert proved they can play from behind. That was something we talked about during the Challenger Series finals. So now we know that Mount Albert can play from behind. Mount Roskill, they're coming in as the defending champions. They've got a lot on the line, and they quite often play from ahead as well. So they'll be put to the test for that. Mount Albert though, can play from behind.
Yeah, I just think a guy who does 32% of his team's damage, has a 13 KDA, and is an absolute monster. You know, I hear this guy's champion pool is all hyper carries. Like, he's going to pop off for sure.
All right, gentlemen, we're about to get into the game, and I know the crowd wants us to get into the game, but before we do, I'm going to ask you that age-old question. First, starting with you, Cyclone. Who's taking it out?
I think Mount Albert 2-1.
Mount Albert 2-1? All right. Jamie, your prediction.
This morning, I was correct in the 2-0 to Northcote, and I think I may have to reintroduce that with the 2-0 to Mount Albert Grammar again.
All right. I can already feel the pain, but Mount Roskill are going to defend their title. They are going to take it out.
How many?
Hey, look.
How many games?
It's going to be 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
2-0. No, just kidding. Maybe 2-1. I reckon 2-1.
Okay.
But look, guys, that's the predictions now. And we've got some excellent casters standing by in the form of Jump and Upstart, who are going to take us through this whole best-of-3 series.
Thank you very much, Smite. I am Alex Jumperowski, and joining me here today to cast your premier grand finals, Jake Upstart, Kelly Holes. Jake, you heard the analysts there. Stay thinking it's Mags. What do you think?
I have to agree with them at this stage, except we heard a lot of 2s and 0s. I'm going to take that 0 out and replace it with a 1.
2-1.
I do think that Mags will take it out, but I reckon Mount Roskill's going to give them a run for their money.
I think I'm on the same boat as you with that one, Upstart. 2-1 to Mags seems reasonable. Mount Roskill, they've got the yin-yang factor. They could do anything with this one. And just for weekend champion states, run me through some of these teams and what they pick.
Well, something that is picked, but should definitely not get let through. I think the caster desk might have mentioned it. Vancines Vel'Koz. He puts out ridiculous numbers. We brought up 2001's amazing KDA. That KDA is second only to Vancines Vel'Koz here in terms of just the pure numbers, as we are into Champion Select.
We just jump right into it, Upstart. Vladimir Thresh already off the table. Mags are your blue side team, and Mount Roskill taking up this spot on the red side here. And run me through some of these bands. Why is the Thresh gone?
Johan, really good at the thresh. He likes to roam around, get the rest of his team that advantage. And the Vladimir, it's one of Jele's really pocket picks, one of the picks he's comfortable of taking on. And into Vansine's champion pool, those sort of long-range squishy mages, a Vladimir that's capable of both avoiding their damage and getting on top of them, bursting them down, is quite potent. But the other two bans, we're seeing the Shen taken away, we're seeing the Lee Sin taken away. Both of those champions there, Telos, it's a great pick from Nebulin to get around the map, and Yin Yan, all of last split and what we've seen in this split, such an aggressive jungler. That pick, if he did end up getting it, would be catered to his playstyle.
Important thing to note though is that Vel'Koz still on the table. Vel'Koz hasn't been touched at all. Neither has Teras Gragas. It could be big coming to this one. However, Shake Robot look like might be the Rakan pickup.
And I do like the Rakan pick. It gives you a lot of engage. It gives you a very strong laning phase. And on a playmaking AD carry like Johan, it really gives him the tools he needs to make the most of his playstyle. But Telos, chuck him on the Galio. So good on these picks where it's really just a matter of farm up, stay safe, move into the late game.
And the obligatory Teemo hover. You have to hover your Teemo here.
I don't think it will happen.
Oh, the Kog'Maw though. The blind pick Kog'Maw, leaving Xayah open.
Leaving Xayah open, and Xayah not exactly having the greatest late scaling, obviously outdone by the Kog'Maw in that sense, but early laning phase much better, and brings utility in the form of that root, as well as just being a lot safer with that ultimate. And Teras, he's going to get his Gragas.
His Gragas wide open, there's no way of stopping it. Yeah, he's going to pick that up. We've seen him rampaging through the playoffs with this pick, and he's just really good at starting these fights, finding the picks, and really locking down the enemies that you really don't want to deal with.
And when you combine it with that Twitch on 2001, Twitch is exactly what 2000 wants to play. He farms up, he just stays in the game up until the point where he hits a team fight, and then all of a sudden he's doing ridiculous amounts of damage here. But into the Galio, into the Sejuani, it's really going to be down on him to try and stay safe.
Yeah, because as much as Twitch is good at carrying the late game, he can't really do much into tanks up until that full build point. Sure, he has a poison that slowly burns through them, but the auto attacks themselves don't really do a lot. So a great lineup coming from Mount Roscoe so far, and taking away Cho'Gath for the sake of Robot, getting rid of that one of those meta picks.
Yep, and you brought up the idea about this whole bot lane scaling. It's actually quite an even matchup and is actually support-oriented at this stage, mainly because both the Kog'Maw and the Twitch are basically useless early on. Sure, you can get a bit of damage out in the event you get a gank, but until you hit that point, it's really going to be a matter of scaling up for both of these bottom lanes. And when you have the Janna open, when you have the Lulu's been banned away, if you get that, it's going to make Mount Roskill's laning phase weaker, but it's going to make the hyper carry that bit stronger, unless of course we see Johan build the Ardent Sensor on the Rakan.
Yeah, so Johan, well, I would argue he would probably pick up the Ardent Sensor. It's really strong now. Maybe not the first item, maybe leads to second or third, but it's still super strong, especially on a Twitch who wants to get those auto attacks off, scaling up those poison stacks to really dish out damage to the front line. And completing the ban is that Janna as well upside, so that's most of the Ardent Sensor picks gone.
There's a few other things you could go for, potentially the Karma if you wanted to cut right back to HSL Split 1 when that was such an influential pick. Of course, you could see what we've seen a lot of teams do. But Braum, of course, another brilliant pickup here, really providing a lot of protection. And immediately, look at the front line from Mount Roskill. Galio, Sejuani, and Braum, but
Vel'Koz burns right through them all upside. Vel'Koz is locked in for Vansine. His main pocket pick here. He's going to start melting through Sejuani, through Galio like it's nothing.
And I just don't understand why teams continue to give Mount Albert Grammar this pick. Even when you have the counter pick into this champion, Vansine always seems to make it work. And with the Jarvan in the top lane, we saw in the last series how close Aquinas came to pulling off these amazing teamfight wombo combos with the Jarvan, with the Vel'Koz. With the Vel'Koz being mid now, all of a sudden he's building damage. The potential is there to get that team fight going with that Disintegration Ray Cataclysm combo.
And something to point out as well upside, as you look at the lineup coming from Mount Roskill, very low damage. You've only got Talia, you've only got Kog'Maw to dish out the damage. If they die, team fight over. No way of pulling it back.
And it is a matter of, it's a nature of the meta we have right now, where you have a lot of teams picking these very squishy, relatively mobile carries, and then just opting in for so much frontline. And you do have to say that at this current stage, Mags does have the advantage, mainly because you have that Jarvan who has the potential to build Bruiser. But we did see Shaken Robot have a bit of troubles moving into that mid to late game in their semi-final match against Burnside. He tried to get the best of both worlds, not getting enough damage to split push, but still being a bit too tanky, not tanky enough, sorry, to actually be able to do well in those team fights later on. So I think he needs to define a style that he wants to play, whether or not it is split push, whether or not it is team fight, and build specifically towards that style.
Well, speaking about the Jarvan then, something to mention on the side of Mags as well, unlike Mount Roskill, very squishy front line. You've only really got the Gragas and the Jarvan, and they're only semi-tanks when it comes down to it. So it'll be really easy for Mount Roskill to roll over them if given the opportunity.
But that's why it's so good that you have the Twitch, you have the Vel'Koz. These are champions that have explosive teamfight potential. You use an ability, all of a sudden the teamfight is made or broken in that singular moment.
Well then let's get on to the Rift Start Game 1 of your Premier Finals. Mount Albert Grammar versus Mount Roskill Grammar. Make some noise as we get into Game 1.
And right off the bat, differences in that bottom lane. 2001 opting in for the barrier flash with a support picking up the heal. He also has that relic shield there to start off. And then Mount Roskill Grammar, heal on Zyma and the exhaust on Skerres. So quite different outlooks in terms of that bottom lane attitude.
And first damage going over to Mount Roskill there as all of Mags storm up mid, showing off but saying we've got the finals in the bag.
A lot of confidence there. It's going to be interesting to see.
Hey, Jelly! Nodding his head, he agrees.
Yep, just a lot of stuff going on right now. These players, they're trying to have fun with it. It's good. It means they're confident. It means they're not letting the nerves get to them at all too much. And as a result, their play is going to be all the more better for it.
Yeah, especially as we're just starting to see how these kind of jungle passes are going to start here. Sejuani looks like he's going to be heading out towards that top side. Real emphasis on the bot lane for Mount Roskill. And it's going to be opposite for the side of Mount Albert with that Gragas starting on the other side of the red buff.
And it really is a matter of Mount Roskill trying to shore up the weak link in that bottom lane. It isn't a weak link specifically, but compared to the force that has been 2001 and Johan, it doesn't really do that much. So you want to see Yin Yang roaming down to that bottom lane, trying to set up ganks, because you do have the Braum and that Sejuani combo. Such potential to lay a CC, really shut someone down and stop them from doing anything if you get a gank off.
Ian, I'd argue as well, so coming into this game, that Yin Yang probably has this advantage in the early game. Sure, Gragas has a lot of playmaker potential, but in the 1v1, Sejuani, more DPS, can put out damage more frequently. I would argue Yin Yang, if he finds Terath roaming around the jungle, Sejuani's coming out on top.
But of course, when you go and look later on into the game, Terath, I'd say, is going to scale much better, purely because he has that extra bit of utility. The body slam flash is a guaranteed stun, almost. And then, of course, you have the cast, which is just such a potent team-fighting tool.
Yeah, as we see here, just some CS training coming out in there. Jelly taking a lot of poke from Van Zeen right now, but with this Vel'Koz into Talia, it's a pretty good matchup.
And you are just going to see the Vel'Koz fall a bit behind later on.
First game nerves, first game nerves.
First game nerves, and that is why you want to push minions under the turret. It puts pressure on the minion wave. All of a sudden, it's competing with CS to tower shots.
Yeah, and right now, CS is also important, especially in this bot lane, where you need to carry speed. But right now, top lane is where the action is. You're seeing the run from Talos, the flash, burn, and he'll be out of there safely.
And that is well executed there by Talos. Waiting until the last moment to save his flash, not panicking, but...
Oh, both mid laners super low here. And with Yin Yang being there, the W will be used, the barrier going to be popped from Van Zeen, and a good gank coming through from Yin Yang.
But the flash isn't burnt, which is important as well. The barrier on a much lower cooldown.
Oh, the flash body slam! First blood to Van Zeen! Yin Yang has to run now, and the flash body slam secures first blood.
Jelly overstays in the lane. They don't have any vision in the top side, and as a result, excellently executed gank by Terath there to pick up the first blood.
And it's over on to Van Zeen as well, his Vel'Koz, now first blood gold, has this money to get this little bit of extra AP, keep the poke up, make it stronger in fact, and make it so when he gets to level 6, he can roam bot, he can get some kills.
Look to him to roam top, and really start getting the Cataclysm down onto that Galio. You pull off the research, you get the true damage. It doesn't matter that Galio is a tank designed to play against these magic damage carries, because you're dealing true damage to him at this stage. And with the Cataclysm, as long as Jake and Robot is able to block the knockout back, the flash is still down. Hit level 6, go to top lane, get your Jarvan ahead.
Yeah, because if you get your Jarvan ahead, that's an assassin coming through Conway. As you see a replay here, there's a flash body slam into the Q, no counterplay.
And that Q was weaved within the minion wave as well. That was an excellently positioned Vel'Koz Q by Vancine, and it's one of the reasons why teams just shouldn't give it to him. He is so comfortable on this champion, and he's able to win almost any matchup. In the semi-final, he won into a LeBlanc lane.
That's so hard for a Vel'Koz as well, with no mobility and LeBlanc having so much burst, having so much ability of her own. It's so hard for Vel'Koz to win that, and if he's winning against LeBlanc, he'll be winning against anything.
But Yin Yang potentially looking towards this bottom lane here, and it's the lane you do want to gank. If you can get the Kog'Maw ahead, as you said, with the less tanky squad
Oh, they can't
line.
see him coming either. Johan in 2001 have to run here. Arden Assault will connect over onto the Rakan, and the chase will ensue. The sun does come through over on 2001, but no summoners burn, no deaths, but a successful gank nonetheless.
They do manage to apply a lot of pressure. They know that Yin Yang is looking, but he really wants to wait until he hits level 6 before he wants to try and actually start doing stuff.
Both mid laners dodging their circle lockups of each other and keeping this game interesting, really.
But the important thing is that Jelly is winning out in the CS in this lane. He's managing to push up the Vel'Koz, which he will do at this stage, until really Vel'Koz starts getting quite a lot of items and gets the spam ability of those abilities. But Terrace is making a return.
Look who's back mid lane. Terrace wants something, but can't quite find it, as Vancine also takes a full Q to the face.
It's the right idea that Mount Albert Grammar is going with, trying to camp this middle lane. But it's just Jelly having that spidey sense tingling. He knows it's happening. He's going towards the right side of the lane, so when Terrace shows up, all he needs to do is walk down. And now, a potential roam. Jelly's level 6.
He's got the Weaver's Wall available, and he's going to look to try to make something happen here. It is warded, so they are potentially going to see it, but however, the call is to back off, reset, don't want to risk too much.
But even just going into the fog of war at that stage is enough to apply pressure down to 2001. They need to start backing away, because if they don't, all of a sudden you could have a Talia down there in the bot lane, double kill for Mount Roskell, and all of a sudden the game's cracked wide open.
Yeah, especially for this Kog'Maw who really needs to start getting some items to get ahead. 3 to 4 items at a point where you see Kog'Maw start to destroy anyone in his path, but he needs the gold to get there. Giving him a kill, giving him 2 kills will definitely help him on the right path, as 2001 just farming up in the spot lane, trying to match the sailing of the Kog'Maw.
And he will be able to do that. Twitch, so capable of providing damage across an entire team. It's like a more Sivir, except it's stealthed and more burst than the Sivir, in fact. Jelly potentially finding Terra.
Jelly's found Terra. Terra taking a lot of damage. Body slam will be used by some time, and Vancine is on his way. You're seeing heroic interest used by side of disintegration ray will be cancelled by the Weaver's Wall. Vancine getting taunted, getting knocked up. Can he make it out of this one? He's locked in. Yin Yang forcing the flash out of Vancine, and such a close fight. And
but here's Shaken Robot.
Shaken Robot looking for an opening, but can't quite find anything. The fight has dissembled, and with that, so close to both in mid lane design.
But importantly, Mount Albert Grammar, they burn the early Galio ultimate. The cooldown on that ability is so high, and it prevents Mount Roskell from using that aggressively. Think anytime you want to have a global ultimate, it's so much more effective if you use it proactively. Shen ultimates, Galio ultimates, use those to make a play instead of responding to your enemy's plays. And you've just shut down that window for quite a while for Mount Albert Grammar.
Tells right now at this point is also slightly behind as well, down about 15 to 20 CS over the Jarvan, and if Jarvan opts for this more damage every build, it's going to be harder for Galio to really try to survive this lane, because Galio wants to be building MR, especially into the likes of Tira and Vancine in this early game, and if he needs to chuck armor in the mix, it's going to be a lot harder for him.
But at the same time, he really wants to be stacking a bit of armor anyway, purely because 2001 is going to start doing a lot of damage. So no matter what, he'd still need to end up really trying to build for that team fight later stage, building into that hybrid damage that Mount Albert's composition has. And unless you actually have magic damage in every position, potentially the only thing that you would want more is a Kog'Maw instead of the Twitch.
which would force magic damage to be stacked. You still want to be stacking that armor, because in the end, 2001 is the person you want to soak damage from.
Especially as we move on. Closer and closer to this mid-game here. Midland is still trying to farm out, get a solid advantage over the other. And right now, I would say even CS in favor of Jelly, I would still give the Fanzine First Blood worth a bit more.
And as a result, we're seeing Mount Albert Grammar come out to this 1k gold lead very early on. It's not a large lead, but it's a lead, and it's something that they can work with. We're seeing everything even across the map with a lead for Shaken Robot in that top lane.
Oh, they're going to go bot lane die. The flash, grand entrance from Johan will help out here. The two-man body slam, two-man puts the cars, and Zimmer is not bad. 2001 will pick up that kill, and Scare is only just escaping.
Tirath lands every skill shot. Brilliant body slam flash onto both members of the bottom lane. And then the cast to push both of them back. In the end, Scares is able to get out, but the less mobile Zyma is not.
And we didn't really talk about this much pre-game either, Upstart, but Teras Gragas is so big for him. Such a strong point of engagement with his team, and Peel if need be. And you saw down in this bot lane, and you might see it now, Johan getting sunned up twice, in fact, as Yin Yan will claim that kill, stopping that dragon attempt.
Mount Albert Grammar overstaying just a little bit and potentially
Speaking of overstaying, Tello's got a solo kill up on Shaken Robot in the top lane as well.
Potentially Shaken Robot getting a bit too aggressive, trying to force a match. But this is where you need to start worrying for Mount Albert Grammar in this middle lane. We've given up a solo kill in the top lane. Galio Ultimate is back up. Sejuani is 6. Talia is 6. The power spikes are online, and here's the kill in the top lane, and it's just going to be Shaken Robot potentially getting a bit too aggressive, trying to force the point. Cataclysms into the tower.
Oh, and the Winds of War as well to finish it off. Last tick as well. Talos played it superbly. Oh, they're advancing the mid lane, dropping super low. Disintegration Ray will not work as you're going to see Jelly pick up that kill. Yin Yan is low, but has the time to walk away from it all.
And Mount Roskill Grammar are just coming ahead in these trades. They're managing to punish Mount Albert Grammar for their aggression, and they're also managing to provide aggression by themselves in that mid lane. Jelly knowing that at this stage, he wins the 1v1. He's more mobile. He doesn't need to rely on hitting as many skill shots, mainly because there's just so much AoE coming out of them.
Yeah, right now, at this point in the game, you're trying to see Mount Roskill claw back that first blood gold, bring it back into their favor. Sure, still down about 500, 600 gold, but at this point in the game, I would still say you got Mount Roskill a little bit further ahead just because of their base damage.
But Mount Albert Grammar has the scaling, I would say. They have the teamfight composition. Mount Roskill Grammar doesn't really have that engage. They have a Sejuani ultimate, which is more of a skirmishing tool than anything. So Mount Albert Grammar, while they do have a very slight CS lead, they also have the tools to utilize it when they feel the need.
Yeah, right now, starting not to use it here for Yin Yan, who is now starting this counter jungling cycle as well. Yin Yan feels confident enough to start getting these wards in the jungle, try to spot out Terra and make this place happen. And Terra right now, though, is on the bottom half of the map. What they don't know is there's a ward there. Oh! Alright, Terra may or may not commit for this game. No, decides to back off. Bit too risky there. The sweeper gives things away.
And I want to see Terath paying attention towards this top side or this middle lane. Help Van Seen out or get Shaken Robot further ahead. Because if Shaken Robot got that little bit extra damage, had that one item more, one longsword, he could have potentially made that solo kill. And all of a sudden, Mount Albert Grammar is off to an amazing start in that top side, and they have a split push pressure to work with.
Yeah, right now, with this kind of lead, Mount Roskill just really trying to look for these openings right now. Yin Yang playing super aggressive in the blue side of Terra, trying to spot out where the Gragas might be, because Yin Yang fancies a fight at this point.
But Terath is coming to this bottom lane again.
Once again, he wants to try to make something happen there. It's a little bit harder because you see Zimmer, you see Skier's already back up under the tower. However, the top lane, on the other hand, Yin Yang makes it successful, shuts down Shaken Robot once again.
And the Galio Sejuani combination has enough CC to keep Jarvan locked down. And with the Cataclysm, you're just being locked in a roughly Galio taunt-sized hole.
Yeah, it makes it really hard for any kind of wave Shaken Robot getting out. It's set if that E and Q is up, ready to get out at a moment's notice. And with Mount Roskill, with all the CC set up, if Zimmer starts to also start getting ahead, starts to get those kills, starts to get those items, with the amount of CC they have, Kongwa won't be touched this entire fight.
especially when you do have that massive front line and very little back lane pressure. And just look at the combination of CC. The Cataclysm isn't quite enough to get him out of it, but he doesn't burn any summoners, mainly because he didn't have any.
Yeah, at that point in the game, you saw Shanghai use those summoners in the last 1v1 potential against Talos now. And at this point in the game, Mount Roskill, only 200 gold separates the two teams. This is the final you wanted.
And it is at this current stage very even. The game is hanging on a limp's edge. We see Mount Albert Grammar farming better, but Mount Roskill managing to make these early plays, managing to get around the map quite well, and Yin Yan's making a pre-visit.
Yin wants to make this work again. A Shaken Robot is going to be taking down. The stun will connect. The E is used, but the taunt, the Q, however, will get him away. I like the setup of that E nice and early to make sure he had an escape route.
And even if he did get locked up, the flag stays there. He's able to get out, knock up. No flash use either, which is excellent for the side of Shaken Robot, playing that gank very well. But Terath coming down to the spot lane.
Terath, and you're going to see Johan here. The flash coming will miss, but Jelly taken so low, so quickly. He's still alive, running away. He makes it out. Talos with the kill to Johan. The fight is breaking out here. Shaken Robot doing all he can, but Jin Yan with the flash, with the sun, will land the glacial prison as well. Won't result in another kill, but Mount Roskill turning that around brilliantly.
The fact that Vancine keeps getting cancelled out of his disintegration ray by edges of CC. The first time we saw, I believe it was the Talia knock-up, just catching him, and now this time it's just the very edge of that Galio ultimate that knocks him up, prevents him from finishing off Jelly, and then all they do is respond. You see here, it comes up, he doesn't get the damage off.
Flash in the body slam as well. Jelly flashed out just out of the body slam before he was hit. It was such a close fight.
It was incredibly close, perhaps being punished for slight over-aggression there under the tower. And it's just things not quite working. Mags, they're not as sharp as we've seen them be before. Potentially a bit of nerves showing through.
They burned the flash off Zimmer there. The Rand entrance will miss by the Rakan, but burning the flash, worthwhile trade. However, Yin Yang playing that Rift Shield up on the top side.
And it is one way to break open a game and to take a tower. And with that Rift Herald, it means that you're probably going to want to put it mid at this stage, let the rest of your lane start pushing up, because they're slowly starting to get ahead. Again, you're getting so much gold from these assists. You're even now, despite the fact that you were 1k behind a lot earlier.
Yeah, and with that, Mount Roskill really needs to start looking to switch from defensive to proactive plays. Yin Yang has been the leader in terms of doing that. Those gank top line really shutting down Shaken Robot, but that's not going to be enough. One champion being behind won't be enough to secure a victory. Maybe look to mid, maybe look to bot, because once those are behind, then there's no damage coming out from Mount Albert either.
But this is a promising sign for Mount Albert Grammar, because they have never been the early game laning phase team. It's always been the middle game when they've managed to come online. Terath, he's not known for his laning phase. He's known for his ability just to do ridiculous things. Very often he loses his laning phase and then transitions into a magnificent mid-game. So Mount Albert Grammar still has the ability to switch on, but potential three-man fight in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Mount Albert Grammar can see that Yin Yang is there, but they cannot see that Tera is also waiting in the back lines, waiting for something to start happening here. But however, they're all going to back it off. Zimmer has the gold, wants to go spend it, and working his way up towards that Gunsos.
But of course, he's up to that awkward stage now where he needs enough gold to leap over that Blasting Wand region. Kog'Maw does have a few AP scaling, so it isn't as bad as it could be, but it's still awful as an AD carry to sit on that Blasting Wand, because it just does so little for you, takes up an item slot, and it's 850 gold.
Yeah, 850 gold, where you want to ideally to have a little bit more gold, complete the Gunsos, and maybe look towards the item a little bit earlier. So this next back is going to be big for Zimmer here. Speaking of big, Yin Yang is going in the middle of three people. You're going to see the charm used over on the knock-up as well.
Here comes Talia!
He wants to turn this one around though. Weaver's Wall locked in the side of Johan, and Johan will drop to Zimmer.
And Mount Roskill Grammar are just out-rotating Mount Albert Grammar. Mount Albert, they're making the right plays. They're laning well. But Mount Roskill is on the same page in these rotations, and they're going to pick up the Mountain Drake.
Their second dragon is well upside. They claimed the Ocean Drake earlier on this game, and that's this great sieging potential being set up by the team. Now they've got the extra damage, now they've got the missing heal and mana regen. They're going to be ready to siege come this mid and late game.
And they're doing well not to take a tower, purely because they're extending out this laning phase, which they have the advantage in. If you get into the mid game, then Mount Albert Grammar slowly starts to get into their comfort zone. So Mount Roskill is milking this laning phase, getting as much of a lead as they can, And as a result, we're seeing them start to eke ahead now. They have the 1,000 gold lead now.
And with that lead, they really are in a position to start forcing fights here. You've got Cogmore, who's up the Gunsos over the Runans alone of the Twitch. And you look at Jelly, Real Nonicons, and Silkwoods, plus the Dark Seal as well. More AP up on Vancine. So they've got the fight advantage. They're ready to go. They just need the opportunity.
But of course, Mount Albert Grammar, they still have that strong team fight engage, that strong team fight CC. The Jarvan engage is there. The Gragas utility. Johan on that Rakan is still so potent at starting the fight. So Mount Albert Grammar, they have a way back into this game, and it could be through a potential 1v1 from 2001, but he will just come out of the stealth and farm some minions.
Yeah, it's questionable. They didn't know exactly where Scaris was on the map. Didn't want to risk anything. LeBron waiting in the bushes for a potential fight. And really, if Scaris once starts falling further behind, it's going to be so hard for him to find a way to come back up to meet the levels that Cogmore and Brom will be dealing.
And we saw in the semi-final that 2001 is a player that is able to be tilted. In that final game of the series, he was playing so defensively, so unlike himself. He still has the CS lead, but the rest of the team is falling apart at this stage, and they should be able to take this top lane tower.
First tower should be going over here super low. They should be able to grab it. First tower over to Mount Roskill. Will they look to make the fight happen? No. Numbers advantage not on their side. A bit too risky happening here as we've seen this game come back to this point where fights start breaking out, especially in this bot lane. Johan with the combo. Zimmer dropping so low, but 3001 just can't finish it off. Teleport was channeled by Talos, but decided to cancel it, commit to the top lane push that Riftfield was still using.
And while all this is happening, Jelly comes down to the bottom lane.
Jelly behind with the Weaves will locks on the wrong side, but sure, he does one's now caught off. He's using the heal, using the barrier, trying to stay alive. Flash will kill Scaris, make it a 1-for-1, no, a 2-for-1. As Jelly and Zimmer get a kill each, 2-1 Mount Roskill.
And Mount Roskill, again, take the advantage off of a very scrappy fight. They use the Talia ultimate. Jelly's able to roam down, restart that fight, despite the fact that early on, it was most certainly advantage to Mags. But they turn the fight around. They get that additional kill, and right now, Talia 2-1, Cogmore 2-1. Your carries are set up.
Jelly's standing still. He will be able to get the kill, however, 1-for-1 in this one. Zimmer will drop, but Jelly will get the revenge kill over on advancing the Disintegration Ray, use to finish off Zimmer at max range.
And this game is descending into chaos right now. There's almost no structure to it. Teams are just going to a lane, then at some point deciding to rotate around, pick a fight, and then when that initial fight is picked, it just seems to cascade around the map. A series of interactions that is just really occurring, never mind making plays. So both of these teams opting into this chaos style where they're just trying to pick fights, trying to brute force. We're not seeing any of the rotations that these teams are famed for. Instead, we're just seeing these teams gank. We're seeing these teams gang up on a lane, try and pick fights. And then right now, Mount Roskill is playing the chaos style much better.
Yeah, definitely coming out to this lead, and then this point in the game, up 5 kills, up 2 dragons, had the first Tower of Blood behind them as well. They can really start looking to take this up to the next level, commit to a team fight, because if Mount Roskill can win this team fight, they have the pushing power in the Cogmore to really start shredding through these towers.
And it is a 2-day gold lead that they're trying to do this with. It isn't an even game. They do have that advantage to fall back on, that advantage to wield to try and pick up that middle lane tower. But unless things go horrifically wrong from this point onwards, Mount Roskill Grammar should be fine as long as they just play safe.
Yeah, right now, Safe is sitting Zimmer and Scaris in the mid lane, wanting to complete the inner tower's destruction in that mid lane. Because right now, if you open up that mid lane, Vancine does have the opportunities to make plays. He has to be forced to farm, defend those further back towers, and that means that it also allows Jelly to have a bit more freedom in terms of how he wants to move around the map.
And he's already been roaming around the map enough as it is. He's been using that Talia ultimate to great effect, getting involved in almost every fight there has been with that 66% kill percentage right now. And as it is, he's playing ridiculously well at this stage. He's even ahead on farm despite the roaming.
Yeah, something we mentioned as well with Mount Roskill, with the loss of Kido to the OPL, they really needed someone to step up to take his place, and Jelly right now seems to be the person to want to do that. Mid lane carry, super great for the team, and with that, they're slowly taking the game away from Max.
but 2001 is still doing what he normally does. Even in a dire situation, he's ahead on farm. He's playing well. It isn't an excellent score, but it is a solid score. He's managed to pick up 2-1 with 215 farm. That's just under about 10 CS a minute at this stage. For 2001, even though things are looking bad for his team, he's not quite managing to pull things off. He's doing quite well. As Vancine getting forced off of this middle lane.
Yeah, Vancine uses integration rate just to try to get some more damage from Jelly, make him scared to keep pushing. Right now, speaking of pushing, you're seeing 2001 pick up that top tower, match up in terms of that, and Gareth is in his mid lane. Is he going to look to make something happen? No! Yin Yang wants to fancy the fight.
And the way that Mount Albert Grammar is playing this is quite well. They try to pick up an advantage. They get some gold back with that tower in the top lane. All of a sudden, the gold lead closes to 1k again. Shaken Robot is holding Talos in the bottom lane. Despite not actually being able to play that matchup as heavily as he'd like, he's still ahead on CS, even though he is behind in overall gold. And with that Black Cleaver, he's going to start doing some damage, opting into a bit more of a bruiser build at this stage.
Yeah, that's what we mentioned before, as we're loading into this game, that Shaken Robot really need to commit to a style of play on this Jarvan. My looks at it, he's opting for the bruiser. He's opting for that engage, yet damage heavy option, which Jarvan has seen so much success on, even at Worlds so far this year.
And we are seeing Gragas sort of pick up the baton of tanking. He's got that Spectre's Cowl, looking potentially for an adaptive helm, because both Talia and both Cogmore rely on continuous damage. Talia with her Q, those 5 rocks being thrown, and the Bioarcane Barrage coming out of Cogmore are quite heavily affected by that adaptive helm. But Tirath...
We've all going to use it. Tirath with his body slam over it. The trade was called by Mags. They want to get the mid tower for the Ocean Dragon. Doesn't quite work out, and Mount Ross will walk away with that free Ocean Dragon.
But of course, that does mean that the Talia ultimate is down. He doesn't have that ability to roam down to the side lanes anymore. But Mags, they're grouping up mid, they're trying to force this down, and with this Vel'Koz, they do have, I'd say, a siege advantage.
They do definitely have wave cut up right now over Zimmer, because he has not completed the Runars yet. Really needs to get an item underway so they can match the wave cut that this team is going to be really dishing out. Because if they can have this gold advantage, it's great for them. They can look to make plays, but if they aren't being able to clear waves as quickly, it doesn't matter at all.
But the one thing that is a problem is Yin Yang with the early Warmogs. It means that whatever damage is poked, whatever damage is dealt to him, he's just going to regenerate.
Shaken Robot was very close to being killed by Yin Yang. Yin Yang, though, decided to back off just in case. And if he decided to commit a little bit more, that would have been a nice little pick for them to open up some map, maybe get that bot lane tower, and just build up that gold advantage more and more.
But we are seeing the advantages really start to come through for the side of Mount Roskill Grammar. Now that is a beautiful thing to watch, just all of that CS going through.
As an ADC's wet dream right there, Jake. When you see a massive wave CS, you're like, yeah, this is all mine, and I'm going to get every single one of it and use it to get that IE.
And you really do need that farm to come through for the side of 2001. In every game that they have played, they have looked to 2001 from the side of Mount Albert Grammar to carry them through it. We saw it in the semi-final. They didn't really do anything up until the point where 2001 was comfortable in his damage. And I think it's going to be a very similar game here of really this long drag out of the game, making sure that it comes down to a singular team fight, which again, you have the Jarvan, you have the Gragas, you have the Rakan. So if it does hit that stage, Mount Albert Grammar can start the fight on their terms.
Yeah, Mount Albert Grammar learning from the Burnside series that when you're behind, turtling can be a way to try to bring things back to a point where you can do things, but it also means you're removing any possibility of a comeback earlier on. You're having Barons open up, you're having towers open up, and right now, Mags aren't really making anything proactive happen in this game, except for shoving mid lane in.
And you could say that that is a result of having potentially losing lanes, the Twitch, the Vel'Koz, and the fact that you did